Good evening, Yusuf.
Good evening,
How are you doing today?
Beren. It's fine, I guess. How are you? How about you?
Everything is fine. It's a nice evening with clouds everywhere. No
I
sun,
agree.
of course.
Yeah. So, what are we going to talk about today?
We're gonna talk about technology and the history of technology and what it's doing today, I guess.
Well,
It's gonna be a long, long
I think we
podcast.
shall. All right. Shall we start from the past?
Yes, please.
All right. So, when do you think exactly technology has started?
Well, you see, technology, according to Wikipedia, is a sum of techniques, processes, methods, and skills used for goods and services or to accomplish certain goals. Like the most simplest way to explain what technology is, or to give an example, is making basic tools. Like if you make an axe, you're chopping wood easier. That's to accomplish certain goals and to get more goods. So tech
So, you mean
technology
the
was
technology is
technol.
as old as.
You go.
All right. I mean, according to this thing, uh, it appears that technology is as old as human history, right?
Yes, we were able to we were able to invent things without knowing we invented things. Before we had a concept of our surroundings, we invented things. We invented fire. We cooked food. We molded metals to get iron, copper, and brass.
So that kind of makes sense if you think about it even a bit, because like the most general explanation of technology nowadays is like the phones, the computers we use, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So they help us to improve our standards of our lives, right? So
Yes.
if you think about it, even the fire helps us in that way. So we can even count fire as technology, as sticks, spears, and a lot of other stuff.
With that definition, we can also use the same. We can also count numbers as technology. It helps us keep track of sheep, keep track of money, of
Ah, yeah.
how much time has passed. It's technology by definition.
So if you even okay, let's go a bit far. So everything that helps us is technology in that way, right?
Well, yes, but you can't say the sun is a technology. You can't go
No,
that
because
far.
it wasn't made by a human, right?
Yeah, it's not made by humans, but it does help us uh, a lot.
Improve. So we can change the definition by something that helps us comfort ourselves, maybe improve our lives, and this thing must be made by humans, by human hand, right?
Yes, it's because the improving our lives is technically counts as services, and the others are techniques and processes. So yeah, we can also
Hmm.
so you have to survive in a very harsh environment. Like you have to stay in caves, you have to make fires. Making clothes is also technology, and trying to find new ways to kill animals for their leather is also technology.
So I have a question right here.
Yes,
Um, is technology a technique or a technique is a technology?
that's a really good question. So technology is a collection of techniques. You can't say that you can't say that a technique is a technology, because you can have many different techniques, but most of them aren't technology. Like, you have seen them on the internet, you have heard from your teachers, especially in last 8th grade. There are some fast reading techniques. They aren't technology. We don't say this person invented fast reading, because it's a technique, it's not a technology.
Well, yeah, I think so too, because I don't know, I think um, technology should be more rigid, more solid. Like we could touch to it, maybe a bottle, maybe I don't know, a computer, a TV, a something like this, not a term.
Something solid, something, how should I something measurable.
Yes, something measurable, something we can see with our eyes, we can sense with our um, organs, you know?
Or something we can realize.
Yeah.
We
So,
so we
yes,
invent so then
you.
we progressed from making tools and molding iron. We founded civilization. We built houses. We calculated the sun. We grew crops according to the sun, the moon, and seas and
Yeah.
water.
The date,
The dates.
the
The
Mhm.
Egyptians built calendars for keeping track of when the Nile flooded. It was all based on
The calendar.
agriculture. Yeah,
Yes, the calendar, the most important features of our lives. The calendar.
we
Yeah,
need
you're
to
right.
keep track
Oh,
of
at least.
we need to keep track of dates for certain events. Like we had exam 3 days ago. We know what's a day now. We can sense it. We can grasp our
Yes.
minds around what a day is, which day it was, which day it will be. Like, from if I say it's gonna be Monday, a few days later, you can understand what I'm saying. Today is a Friday, then it's a Saturday, Sunday, and Friday. Monday. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. But if you try to
After all,
explain,
humans. Yes. Yes, I was going to say that humans love measuring and controlling things, keeping track of things, right?
yeah, if you try to explain what a Monday is to someone, let's say, 5,000 years ago, maybe they wouldn't even know what it is. They wouldn't understand it. They only know yesterday, today, and tomorrow. There is no
Yeah.
unified
Yeah.
sense of calendar.
You're definitely right, and I kind of agree with you after all. Like, I don't know, humans are really good at measuring things and keeping track of things. Like the calendar, like we said, like books. After all, books are a really good example of this because people write some stuff on them, and they keep that information for decades, maybe thousands of years.
Books are
So,
really.
can we?
We need to appreciate books more sometimes. They are such
Yes,
fantastic
yes.
objects. Like a, it's
Well,
literally,
yeah,
you
but
can describe it as a uh, hardened tree corpse that's super light, and there are these symbols on it. There are many more of the same symbols, and they mean something. They they tell you an
yeah, yeah.
idea, a dream maybe, or some view of the
There's
environment.
yes, there's a I understand what you're coming to say. Like there is a plan, there is something beautiful in the chaos, and that's what make books very beautiful and useful towards history. Sorry for the interruption, by the way.
Ah, it's okay. Things happen.
Yeah. Hmm?
Things happen. It's cool.
All right. I what was I saying? The books, yeah. So, like I said, there's some plan in chaos, and that's what makes the books beautiful. That what makes human technology, human nature beautiful and useful. That's what we are. That's why we are different from animals. We have brains and we can use tech.
We can utilize our environment. That's what sets us apart.
Yes, yes, you're definitely right.
So the past is
So,
like
what I was saying?
we invented some things in the past. We're still using primitive techniques for some degree, not of course all the time, but we still
Well,
use primitive technology when you think about it. It's just a little more improved.
well, I can agree with you and even give an example. Fire, like it's really old technique we use all the time. Like, um, even the bulbs, the light use, produce a little bit of fire, even though we don't see it. And even though we see them very, modern and other stuff, it's very primitive, like you said.
We
There's a
can't we can't
there's tons of
we can't just give up fire. It's such a fundamental of today's everyday life. Like you want to smoke a cigarette, you need to light a fire for it to burn. You want to cook food,
yes,
bam, you have natural gas. You want to stay warm during a cold winter? Well, we have central heating. Guess what it's powered by? It's definitely fire. If
yeah.
there
After
is
all, yeah, we are living in a pandemic, which makes our lives kind of hard. So
just a
we
little bit,
find
not
the
too much.
solution. Yeah, we find the solution in technology, right? We electricity to make something useful as computers, right?
Yes.
We mostly produce electricity from fire, the coal, maybe the sun, maybe wind. But these are the basic stuff we invented lots of years before. So we can't just abandon them.
No, we literally can't. You can't just abandon something you use a lot just a fraction of a second. You can't just say, I'm gonna stop
Yes.
doing this. It's a no, you can't do that. It's not that easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though in our lives we can't just abandon our habits. That's
Oh,
that's kind of similar.
there is a saying called old habits die hard.
Yes, yes. I strongly agree with this sentence. It's it's actually the human nature, and since we make technology out of our nature, we can see some particles flying around in technology from our nature, you know?
You know what's really
You get what I'm saying, right?
yeah, I understand. You know what makes me feel like, oh my god, how did we even accomplish this? Like the use of electronics and electricity. How did we find this? How did we make electricity? How are we using
Well,
a very small fraction of an atom to do all of this? We can see something in front of our eyes with just billions and billions of these little unseeable objects.
well, let me see something really weird. In this technology stuff, we use something called transistors, which is kind of a heart of our technologies today, the computer and other stuff. The transistors are like electrical gates we use to, manipulate electricity. Zero and ones, open or close. And um, the the standard length of a transistor in our CPUs and other stuff is 4 nanometers, which is like few atoms. You think
It's
about it, it's
it's so
micro.
small.
It's so small, like we can't even see it. We just take the CPU in our hands, and it's even smaller than our, palms, and it can compute more things than us. It can manage a screen. It can do a lot of calculations in like in a really short of timeline that we can't even imagine. And the best thing about this is someone made this, someone invented this,
Someone in
some
somewhere
big brain.
invented all of
Yes,
this.
yes. Like, how did they do that? Even how did they get the idea of it? Maybe it's in, nature. Maybe in our brains, which is, yeah, in our brains. That's how our brains work,
Well, yeah,
neurons or other
but
stuff.
how did the person come up with this? How do you wake up and say, now if I use the smallest particles in existence, I can revolutionize how we perceive our surroundings. How does
Like,
one wake up? Is this
I,
some sort of 3 a.m. big brain I don't understand?
but I don't think that it's all happens in one night. Like somebody woke up and said that I'm going to build something like this and it's going to save a lot of lives and it's going to do this and this and this.
Well, uh, you're right about that. Somebody just doesn't wake up in the middle of the night saying, I'm gonna do this and save lives.
Yeah, you're right. Like, how could it even happen? Like, we are all human, right? We are all the same. And can you even imagine a night where you just wake up and say, I've got something genius. I'm gonna do this in the morning, and you do it, and you success on this.
I don't think
Like,
I can.
since we are all human, we should have all experienced this at any rate,
I
But we
don't think I
didn't.
can do that. I can imagine myself doing so many great things. Like
Yeah,
it
me,
doesn't
me
really
too.
matter if it's just a video game or some toys like Lego. I can just imagine myself doing something.
Yeah. Like
Like
we can't do as humans, we can't do anything without time. We have to put effort on this. Like, for example, a program in mine and a not were made in like 4 months without even taking a break. I didn't do all the stuff in one night. It took four certain months, and I'm still working on this, for example. And I'm pretty sure that you have pretty much plenty of examples like this. So technology is something like this. We are improving ourselves with our lives while we are going through a future with time. We use everything we got, and we got some stuff. We get some benefits from it, like computers, like investments, like you know, the all stuff we got here. Even to our lives, our standards, our styles, after all. What do you think about it?
Well, you're right.
You hear?
Like,
Yeah.
I know that you didn't just do everything in like that onion notes. You don't do that in one night. You have to spend a lot of time, a lot of your
Yeah.
willpower on that. I have this math game I'm making for on Scratch. Uh, it's a
Yeah.
platform for made by MIT students to teach coding to younglings. It has taken so much of my free time. I love working on it, but it's so hard to try to do something very this large on such a limited amount of code. You have to add a lot of things, a lot of new blocks. Even though I
Yeah.
can't make any, just don't question them. Uh,
You. Yeah. Continue, please.
the largest file I have on this project is 2 to 3,000 kilobytes, which doesn't seem a lot, but in comparison, the smallest Scratch file ever is an unedited 20 kilobyte file.
Well, yeah, yeah. It's like how many time you spend on it? How much time you spend on it?
So I started to work on this in I believe November.
In
So
2020?
yeah, 2020.
Yeah. Then.
Then I stopped periodically working on it for 1 or 2 days in every week. So every week I'd spend 7 days on this, and then I take a 2 to 3 day break.
Well,
I either don't have motivation or forget it, and then I
no, no.
completely forgot.
Forget about the break.
Forget about the
It
break.
makes more than, yeah, it makes more than 4 months,
It
maybe
still
five,
makes more than
which
four
is a,
months.
yes, maybe five, maybe six, something like this. A half of year, and your tech, the thing you are trying to do, is still improving, and that's what tech is all about. Our techniques, our technology didn't improve in one night. So if you take, I need to talk about one more thing before we, close the call, the
Yeah.
podcast. The quantum computers.
Oh, quantum.
I'm really pretty big fan of them. What do you think of them? Like, any
They
thoughts of
are.
them?
Yeah. They are. When I was younger, I used to be a fan of technology and the tech products of technology. For some reason, I was a weird kid. Don't question me. Like
Yeah.
they are so powerful and they can do so much more than a normal computer can. Like if you okay, let me
Uh,
give you an example. So if you search up Pokemon, just in general Pokemon on YouTube and go to images, you can find a lot of different things like videos and photos and sites. But if you search that
yeah.
same thing on a quantum computer, it's gonna do so much faster. It's gonna do so much better. It's gonna find the
Let me
exact
give you
information
another
that you wish.
example.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, let me do a little talk to understand better this how do how do these things work. May I?
Yeah, please do.
All right. The normal computers, like I said, uses transistors, which only gives two possible reactions: there's
One and zero.
electricity or not. Yes, one and zero. But in quantum computers, there are both of them. They could be both of them or neither of them at the same time. It could be anything. And if you take it, if you ask for the, time at a certain time, it will give you only one specific thing, or either zero or one. But it's really complicated right now. You get the idea. Uh, but if you play a chess game with computer, the computer will try to understand your moves and make some good moves than others. This is the
Yeah.
basic one. But if you try the same thing with other computers, with the quantum computers, they will not just stay trying to, picking the better choice. They will actually make you pick the better choice for its own. It's going to manipulate the game. It's something that we can't even understand yet. The scientists made it, yeah, but they don't even know what can it do. Like, it's limitless. It can even understand maps of atoms. It can even open a gate to teleportation and other stuff, which is like beautiful. We can see that we are not in the limits of science and technology. We have got computers, but we have got quantum mechanics and other stuff coming through our lives in maybe a few decades, maybe, I don't know, 100 years, but it's going to take less. It's really close to us right now.
So, what do you think about, since we talk about quantum computers, I want to know what the future holds in your opinion. Like, what will the world of technology and whatever will look like? Just a
Well,
generalization, not something specific.
like, it takes a lot of time to understand single nature of a single atom, for a computer, like years. It's something that our normal computers can't do. But in quantum mechanics, since they can check all of the states, it will take maybe a second, maybe, I don't know, 1 hour, maybe at its finest, which is like spending 1 hour trying to understand an items and live with success is beautiful. It's important for our futures, for our lives, for let's take the health industry as example.
Hmm.
Uh, Imagine a computer scanning you in 1 hour every single atom in your body, and it can detect any cancer, any virus, any bacteria in your body, and it can even manipulate the atoms to get rid of that, you know, illness from your body,
How does
which
it do
is
that
like,
though? If it can, I know, I understand that it can manipulate atoms, but how does it manipulate atoms to such a point where it, um,
well, we don't have the technology yet, and it's kind of a dream more than a fact. Like, we can only imagine this in this timeline. But as we move through the future, we see more and more. Like, I don't think that it's going to be something impossible. I think that us, the humans, can manipulate atoms and do some very interesting things in
We
our
already
future.
made the world's smallest car from atoms. Like
Yes,
individual atoms, we organized them, we used bonds on them, and they made a miniature car, something humans made.
yes, yes. Well, if you, I just want to summarize it. We start with fire, right? At the beginning of this podcast.
Yes?
And now we are talking about quantum mechanics. We went to future from past, and we can see how much progress we made. And it's like, I don't know how to explain this feeling. And I see hope in our future if we use that technology in good ways, which is kind of scary at the
You
same time.
can't under you don't know what anybody will do with that technology. You can invent something so mind breaking. Like imagine you're in the 1940s, the world is on fire quite literally, and you discover that a very big atom nukes. If you launch something really, really small at a very big atom, it explodes. It makes so much energy, and you can use that
Yes.
energy to heat up water. It becomes steam. It turns some turbines, and it becomes electricity. You figure
Yeah,
this out. That's
that's
what we
something good
call
for humanity.
that's you can use
Yeah.
this for like everything. It makes so much energy. You can use this in you can light what's it called? Uh, you can light houses, entire cities, an entire country. But some you know what this is. You know what this is called, right? This nuclear fission. But some
Yeah.
people like
Yeah.
but the people at the top decide to use the destructive capabilities of it to flatten two entire cities in under a week.
Not only two. There's a lot of more cities blown by nuclear tests, and I think there should be some people died from it
There are
if we
so
don't
many
take the
people.
Nagasaki and Hiroshima.
There is this reminds me of a pretty ridiculous story. A man in Hiroshima, Nagasaki, I believe, was going to work and he got nuked, and he went to Hiroshima
Yeah.
to his family to take cover, and then he got nuked again.
Yeah, he was the very survivors of that incident, right? It's
He,
not an incident after all, but
it's
yeah,
not an incident at all. I don't think we could count this as an
humanity is
incident.
scary sometimes. Yeah. The actually, let me take a story. Let me tell a story. We were in the physics lesson,
Yeah.
and our teacher said that we were talking about the nuclear energy, this energy
Mm-hmm.
stuff in the lesson. It's pretty normal. And teachers said that nuclear energy is mostly used by bombs, not the power plants
Yeah,
or something else for good for humanity. It's
true.
for destruct. Yes, that's ridiculous. Like we use such a powerful technique to kill other people. And if you come to think about it, we can do the same to quantum computers. We can even delete a human from existence. We can manipulate, black holes. We can manipulate um, nature. We can manipulate money and a lot of stuff. And humanity is really scary if you let them be whatever they want.
Speaking of money, what do you think of currency? Like, it's pretty wild. You give a piece of paper with ink meaning. You spend a third of your day at best to work, to do tasks, to do
And yes,
things, and in return, you receive this paper with some ink and symbols and value for to live another month. Uh, How did how did we went from using paper as a tool for writing and documenting into something worth eight and a third of our lives to we'll
it's
use
scary.
yeah.
And if you're talking, if you're yes, yes, you go, you
No,
continue.
I don't have anything else to say.
So, about my opinion, I think it's something that like we can't escape from. Like it's like fire, you know. People always needed something to trade with because one person can't do anything at, at the same time, you know. You can't do cropping, you can't while doing, you know, cloth
Clothing.
and you have to trade something, you know. You either do cropping at the, you know,
Hmm.
farm or the clothing or the laundry or something else, I don't know.
Clothing.
So yeah, so what do? You go to someone else that you can do one of them, the opposite one, and you make a trade with this. Sometimes it could be, you know, unfair for some people, but about money, when it comes to money, well, it's a bit it's a better, I guess, you know, like
Money is
it's a
something. Mon-
technology too.
Money
Mhm.
is an object we use as a mediator. We use the paper with ink to get food or to get water or services like healthcare, education, transportation, and better quality of
Well,
living.
well, you know, the uh, relationship between money and gold is, you know, is pretty important. If you have more gold, you can print more money, you know.
But if you have
Some
more money,
people,
but what if you have
no,
more money?
it's bad. It's really bad. It's really bad because you can't produce, you can't print out gold, and you have to get rid of some monies because um it makes your money to lose currency. You know, you get point, but it's
Hmm.
not our subject right now. So the money is a tech, right?
Hmm.
Some people took the idea and said, "Oh yes, we have some money, and which can be unsecure sometimes, which can be bad. It has too many disadvantages." And you know what? I'm going to make some contracts with some people to sell with my own money, which is Bitcoin. And some people said, "Ah, yes, I can. Yeah, I see potential in this thing," and they got some investments on it, and they got the money. They got more money because of this, you know, investments, and more people gathered there, and now it's falling again because everything lives and dies, and now Bitcoin is dying because it's reached its end. What I'm trying to say is some people came and just said, "Yes, I was thinking about this for a long time, and now it's time for my plan." And they got the money, they got the benefits, and I just disappeared. For example, the founder of Bitcoin is unknown. The even his name is, you know, kind of a nickname. It isn't something well known. If you go to internet and search for the founder of Bitcoin, you'll see that there's no information about his life, even about his age, his appearance, maybe appearance, I don't know. But like he disappeared. He got all this benefits and he disappeared. He wasn't even real. And he used tech to improve his life.
I just googled the founder of Bitcoin. Uh, the many alleged identities of Bitcoin's mysterious creator, Satoshi Nakamoto. Coinbase sent Satoshi Nakamoto a copy of its public filing, dredging, whatever, the creator's mysterious identity back into the spotlight. Since it was created in 2009, Bitcoin has become a top digital currency. It's just general information. But
Yes.
yeah, you're right. Who is this person? How
Yes.
did this person
Did you
become?
read Yes. Did you read any personal information about him?
No, it's just that
No.
he got some information from Coinbase and somehow the stars aligned in the sky or something, and he became the world's most important person with a mysterious identity.
Yes, we don't even know who is it. Like he used tech, and which is an example for our subject right now. Tech can be scary sometimes. It could improve our lives and it can distract our lives. Nuclear energy, quantum mechanics, money, money technologies, they're all scary and useful at the same time. That's all. Thank you.
Well, this was a wonderful evening. We discussed a lot of things and learned a lot of. We revised a lot of
Stuff, yeah.
great information. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me.
Well, now I'm gonna end this podcast here. Thank you again.
Did you,
Uh,
excuse me?
thank you again for joining tonight, and see you in another podcast, hopefully.